So a conservative and a liberal walk into a bar. What happened next was quite surprising. This ain't no joke.
Try to see me there.
I'm Jamie Allman.
I'm Judi Diamond, and this is the Allman Diamond Experience.
Compromise is fair.
Extraterrestrials, they are living in our brains.
Oh, I thought you were really going to believe it. I was going to go, Jamie.
I do.
That's another thing we have in common. Not in our brains, but like...
I do believe it. You know, it's weird how people, when they talk about extraterrestrials, they always, what is it called? Anthropomorphizing.
God, I'm going to have
supposed
to look
to be
that
intelligent
word
here.
up.
But you know what I mean? What I'm saying
No.
is they apply human qualities to like a Martian. Remember all the things? So everything that is
Well, of
a
course they
extraterrestrial has two eyes and a mouth and two legs and two arms.
Always.
And I was talking to my daughters about this one time. I go, do you realize that an extraterrestrial could be a speck of dust?
Absolutely.
It could be a spider or something. And they're like, what? I mean, because most people, because we're so full of ourselves as
Right.
humans, right? We'll always think, well, it has to look just like us and use propulsion systems that we use, just like airplanes and things. I'm like, you don't know the half of it. There's no way.
Well, it's why is Jesus white?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, and actually, he
it
wasn't
just
white.
goes, but the exact what I'm
Yeah.
saying is he's depicted as always white with
Right,
long hair,
right.
like a hippie looking dude. Who decided that that's what he was going to look like?
Hey, listen, I have plastic lighted Christmas ornaments on my lawn, which I'm very proud of. And
What are they called? What
they
kind
all
of-
look plastic lighted blow ups. You know, the old school ones.
Oh, okay.
I used to see in Overland on my way to my grandma's house.
I don't know.
I thought I'm going to have plastic lighted Santas. I have all the plastic lighted
That's
Santas.
three
in the world.
things you're going to make me look up now.
And I have a nativity scene, and they're all Middle Eastern. They're all
Really?
dark faced. Oh yeah.
Look at you,
Yeah.
all PC and stuff.
Yeah, I just don't think Santa's black, but I'm not going to.
I don't know who made up Santa. Isn't it a pagan thing?
Coca-Cola and some those people did.
Okay.
Yeah,
But that was the polar bears.
But I don't mind saying that Santa isn't black in my mind, but he can be black in anybody else's mind.
I don't. Is he Jewish?
Santa?
I'm kidding.
I don't know.
kidding. I'm
Well,
kidding. No, we
he's-
have Harry Hanukkah.
The way he makes toys and
You know,
delivers them. I mean,
yeah, he's
I don't
a
know.
Good cobbler. He makes shoes. He does all kinds of things.
Exactly.
Look at you going around being all nice. No, we do have Harry Hanukkah.
Now, what does that
It's
mean?
made up. It's not real. It's like a Hanukkah bush. It's like people that are kind of Jewish because they're born Jewish, but they're really not. And so they want to really celebrate Christmas too. So they have a Hanukkah bush.
I'm from U City. I should know that all around because that's all my friends were Jewish until they all moved to Creve Coeur one year.
Well, but were they Orthodox or?
Oh well, they were Jewish. They went to synagogue.
Well, then
They didn't go
I mean,
to-
I did too, but we saw the Hanukkah bush.
We had Hasidic Jews that were
The Chabad.
west of Blackberry, like
That's a
Blackberry
Chabad
Lane.
house.
Yeah, and then all my friends were Jewish people, but they went to synagogue. And so when I went to U City schools in the grade school, I learned all the dreidel songs. I learned I was.
There's only two,
I know,
and
but
there's the Adam Sandler song, which
Yeah, right. Which is actually pretty funny.
it is pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. You bring up religion. How did you know that?
I don't know.
How did you know that I
it
was
just
going to
came
be?
up because you were talking about something, and it led me to that. Because last time we were talking about a little bit about religion.
Yeah.
I've been really into it lately.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with my brother who was in town for a high school reunion over the weekend, and he gave me a book. And as he's talking to me, all I could think about is you.
Wait a second. Is this your liberal brother?
Yeah.
I already like him.
Everybody's liberal in my family.
I know, just
except
like
me.
everyone's
Yeah.
conservative but me.
Right. And I love him. I mean, I love
course.
my family. I love my sisters and brothers like you wouldn't believe. And I all think they're amazingly godly people, even though they would never admit it. You know what I
Right.
mean? But they're really great people.
I
mean,
believe
and
you.
as I believe a lot of liberals are.
Thank
I
you.
like you. People who really do have a soul. I've seen people like you in operation. I see how you interact with people, and so this idea somehow, that's why I always am uncomfortable with this division in this country between they saw the godless liberals or whatever, people who don't believe in God or whatever, and then the Christian right or whatever. I just don't think that I think there's a lot more to it. And so he gave me this book, and it was really interesting, The Daily Stoic. So my brother fancies himself as a Stoic.
Okay.
I practice Stoicism. I go, you do you? Yeah. Here,
I've read all about Stoicism.
Yeah,
It's
good.
a good
You
thought
have.
between it. Yeah, the idea behind it I like.
Yes, absolutely. And so he gave me this book, which is 366 meditations on wisdom. Of course, they had to make 366.
Why not
365? They have to be separate.
Just the extra one.
366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living. And it's actually really a great book.
Well, meditation books are always good.
Yes.
You know.
But now I have a similar one that is based on the Bible. And I'm telling you what, and you people can't see it right now, but if you look at the way the page is laid out, each wisdom
Yes.
for the day.
It's like Psalms or something.
It's exactly set up the same font, the same way that the book I have, which is the Bible.
So wait a second. The Bible copied this book?
Well, what I'm saying is this book copied the Bible, but let's get there in a second. But but I'm talking about like these devotions all look so much like the devotion book that I have that's based on scripture. Mm-hmm. These are based on some really smart people too. And I thought about you because I felt, you know what? This would be a perfect conversation with Judi because
that would be a book I'd read.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I think you're very intelligent. I think your brilliance is there. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So, but I think you're like a lot of people aren't, and I think that's why we're trying to, when we do this podcast, to kind of break through all the pens that people put us in as people, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm reading this, and can I borrow those glasses over there? Can you believe I got? Are these pink?
No, they're just regular. They look fine.
Sometimes I'm with my mom, and my mom and I occasionally get together, drink vodka, and read scripture. But that's another story. She's 94, so we do this. But I always wear her pink glasses.
Actually, they look better on you than me.
So this is funny though, because it's really interesting because you read through this. And you realize that there's a lot of common sense in the Zen movement or the Stoicism movement. As much as I believe there's common sense in the Bible as well. So it kind of mixes. So here's one from May 7th. This would be How to Have a Good Day.
Okay.
And this is by Epictetus. Discourses, and I'm not quite sure what is all. God laid down this law, saying, "If you want some good, get it from yourself." And so this is a daily Stoic that even refers to God and talks about how to have a good day. Here's how to guarantee you have a good day: do good things. That's very biblical. Mm-hmm. That actually is reflective even of John's gospel from Mass on Sunday, where Jesus said, through God, just because you go to church doesn't mean that you are a Christian or living the full life. You have to do the works that I have set out to do. So this is really interesting how they intersect in a very comfortable way.
But then one wonders, obviously Jesus got it from somewhere.
Yeah.
So where did he get it from?
Well, he didn't get it from the Daily Stoic.
No.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I'm
saying, to me, that's a human thing.
Yes, precisely.
We're supposed to be that way.
Right, precisely.
Right.
Which I believe not only backs up the Bible, but also backs up a book like this, because in the end, you can't avoid what you just brilliantly laid out, and that is that everybody's human with human inclinations that are good once we're able to kind of articulate them and see them in a simple way. What I was going to tell you earlier was this is not me trying to convert you to Christianity, because I'm saying that we're already together in a lot of ways. Even if you don't go to church, even if you don't really believe in God, I believe that we're all really actually together.
Absolutely. That's what I believe. We're all connected, one source.
Yes. I mean, this one is from May 8th. Where is good? in our reasoned choices? Where is evil in our reasoned choices?
It's true.
Where is it that which is neither good nor evil? In the things outside of our own reasoned choice. And that's another quotation from Epictetus.
Wait, say that again. In the things.
Let me do this again so that I'm not. Where is good in our reasoned choices? Where is evil in our reasoned choices? Where is that which is neither good nor evil? In things outside of our own reasoned choice.
Well, that could be interpreted in so many different ways.
Well, they expound on that because it's a quote and it says, today as things happen and you find yourself wondering what they all mean, as you find yourself contemplating various decisions, remember the right thing to do always comes from our reasoned choice. Not whether something is rewarded, not whether something will succeed, but whether it is the right choice. Epictetus' dictum tells us, cut through all this with clarity and confidence. Is something good or bad? Is this right or wrong? Ignore everything else. Focus only on your choices. Now, to me, Judi, this is beautiful, especially since it doesn't come from the Bible. It comes from another book that my brother gave me where he's living something that actually, I'm not saying that they stole this from the Christians. I'm saying that we have two parallel universes running.
Absolutely.
With those who are the Stoics and people like you and those like me who are the Christians who operate really almost from the same level. Like we acknowledge actually what good and evil is,
right.
Which technically somebody could say is a Christian principle, but that's not actually true. You can have good and evil and not even ever talk about good and evil and not even ever go to church. Do you know what I mean? So,
but okay, go ahead.
Well, what I'm saying is I think that it's fascinating here. I'll give you an example of where other forces try to divide us. Evolution and creationism. For instance, I'm Catholic, but I believe that evolution and creationism act in tandem. I believe that there are two forces at work there. There is science and God. I don't believe those two are mutually exclusive. There are some people who are Christians who only believe in creationism and think the theory of evolution is baloney. I don't believe that. And I'm wondering whether some people who only believe in evolution, why they don't believe that there might be a God push,
right,
like the founding fathers did, is beyond me. I think what happens is these discussions, like we're just having here, like we just read these things, and you and I both agree this is amazing.
Buddha said something very similar.
Yeah, and yet there are some Christians who will look at this and go, baloney, this isn't based in the Bible, so it doesn't mean anything. And then there are other people who will read this and say, oh, this is good, you don't need the Bible, the Bible's, baloney too. So what we have is a lack of an acknowledgement that there's such an intersection of some really good belief systems out there that don't have to be steeped in organized religion.
Right.
They don't have to be steeped in a rejection of organized religion either.
No,
so
I agree. Yeah.
I thought this would be perfect, a perfect discussion for you. Absolutely. and I'd love to get your opinion about it because I think too often what happens is like people in my realm will reject people like you because you don't believe in God.
Well, I do believe in God.
Well, you said
I don't believe
religion.
Jesus is my God.
Okay, right, exactly.
That's it. I don't believe in organized religion,
Right,
but I do believe in one source and spirit.
Yeah, there you
absolutely.
go.
Yeah.
That was a kind of a big miss there. Me saying,
Did you really think I didn't?
Well,
believe
no,
in
I
God?
think you and I we talked at one point.
I'm not an atheist.
Right.
Now
So
I have a brother who was one, but yeah. Okay.
But I think it was more manifested in the organized religion part of it. So I'm sorry about that.
No,
but,
don't be.
But what I mean is, I think that there are times when you and me can completely understand everything that is written here. And actually, you could probably understand everything that's written in the Bible. You can intellectualize almost anything.
Well, I mean, I've read the Bible.
Yeah.
It got kind of boring in some parts. I can't help it.
Yeah.
Just the these and the thous gets a little boring.
Yeah. Right.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But no, I've read it. I think I totally agree with you. And if you read the Quran,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many of the same things said, just in a different way, but meaning the same exact thing.
Yeah.
But it's still, again, it still causes wars.
Yes.
And that's like, how do we get to the point? And I think I call it enlightenment of seeing that we all want the same thing.
Yeah. To my brother, so all my family, they're all liberals, but there are times that I would trust my children with them more than I would trust my children with somebody who I know from a church.
Because of love over everything, right?
Because ultimately...
Or a type of love, I should say. Maybe that's it. It's because you want to love everyone. But yeah.
And I'm very proud of my faith, but I also want to make sure that, we're in a situation now where we understand that we all really actually have a really hugely common bond here.
And actually, we need more people with faith. I don't care if you're Catholic, Christian,
right,
believe in source, whatever. If we need that collectively as a whole,
right.
In all, it's the separatedness that we don't need, which I think is a smaller portion.
Yeah, and I think we need more Stoics. Like my brother, to me, is a sage. I respect him greatly. But he and I differ very much politically. I mean, some of the first words out of his mouth when we had a drink after playing golf was, well, they elected that fascist in Italy, Giorgia Moroni.
Oh, yeah.
Who I love, right?
My daughter loves him.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. She's more conservative than me.
Yeah. But he did that. But I wasn't going to sit there and argue with him about it. And it's one of those things where we like you and I do, there's so much we can talk about when it comes to spirituality.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing that kind of delineates us is how we exercise its spirituality. So we all have different ways of kind of doing that. But ultimately, what really counts is how we act in the world. So
in our day to day and our minute to minute.
Exactly.
With other people. And do you act with love? Do you act with love? Or do you have other intent?
Yes.
We're humans.
Right.
We're always, when people say, well, they're self-centered, everybody's self-centered. How do you become a centered self? That's the difference.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Well, I remember on our first podcast when you had talked about your model being loving all people.
Yeah.
Right? I said, well, that's very godly.
I remember you saying that.
It's true.
Absolutely, it's godly. As God is one source.
Yes. But that loving all people, it's funny. I could pick up this Daily Stoic and read a version of that. I could pick up the Bible and read a version of that. The famous one is the Road to Emmaus, where these two guys, the two disciples, are walking on this road. It's post-crucifixion.
Oh, and they don't know it's Jesus.
They don't know it's Jesus, right? And so they don't know it's Jesus, but they only name one disciple, Cleophas or whatever his name is. They only name one.
Why?
Because the other one is us.
Oh,
and it's a really cool thing because it's uncomfortable for a lot of people who are into themselves because what that verse tells us is you never know when Jesus is going to be among you. So that means that you never know when the guy who is the homeless person, or maybe it's the baby crying,
sure,
or maybe it's Judi Diamond across from me,
or it's your boss who's yelling at you,
right? That they're Jesus, right. and it's interesting because once you live like that, and again, you don't have to actually believe in the concept of Jesus, and we can't all do that. I scream at people in traffic like anybody else does.
There is no what I call in my new agey stuff. We're in the third dimension, okay?
Right.
To get to the fourth dimension, you would never be in the fourth dimension full time. You can't do it because then you'd be in a freaking astral projection the whole time.
Yeah.
So, but we're so far in the third, we're not even close to the astral projection. You're like going, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm curious, what's the third?
The fifth? We'll talk about that. I'll teach you all about.
Wait, is the fifth dimension when the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter lies?
That's a whole different
with Mars.
thing.
Okay, that's the fifth dimension.
But there is. Do you believe in Atlantis?
Of course.
You do.
Yeah,
wow, okay.
I believe in all that stuff.
Cool. Oh, we got a lot to talk about.
And I don't think that's heretical to anything.
No. But there's an explanation, and this is probably going to go against a lot of religions, but that we went from the reason that Atlantis, it was all planned. Atlantis was this brilliant fourth dimension, fifth dimension kind of souls. We had to go back to learn to get to the next step. So that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
We're in the age of Aquarius right now, which is why there are so many people questioning religion and why can't we come together, which is what you're doing. I mean, does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think that, unfortunately, in this country, I think politics divides us more than religion does. Thank goodness. Because if religion divided us that much,
more wars.
Because all they did was war with each other. I can't imagine a world where only creationism is what dictates our view of how the world was created. Because you can't do that. Yeah. And actually, it's actually a lot more fun to consider that creationism and science all work together in some godly push.
Well, I think it does.
And so it's a lot more fun to believe that it is just like to tell evolutionists, we didn't come from monkeys. It's like, I don't know whether we did or not.
Right.
But I'm not quite sure that's our fight right now, right?
No. I think it's a lot of different things. Our energy levels are so dense, it's sad.
Yeah.
And if we don't bring them up, literally up, and I'm talking physical energy, which you don't see. Yeah. And it's like you believe in God. You don't see God. You don't see physically
It's called
God.
faith,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, the one question that cannot be answered by anybody, science or religion, is why. You can ask a scientist, they have all this stuff. Why? What's the point? You can ask somebody who's religious, what's the point? What is the point? I'll still say to you, what's the point? Nobody can answer that question.
No.
That will blow your mind. Think on that.
Well, I hope that the point ultimately, whether it be whether you attend church, regularly, or whether you read regularly, or whether you do whatever it is you want to do in how you feel about things, hopefully it all kind of manifests itself in how you act at a grocery store, or how you act interpersonally with people you love, or even that you don't even know.
But why, though?
Why what?
Why any of it?
Well, that's about...
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting to the really heart of it. What's the point? Any scientist, you get to the very end of any religion or any science or any of it, none of them can answer the biggest question of what's the point? Why?
Well, I do believe that this is an exercise. I don't believe that I believe this is a transitory period that I'm living in right now.
Totally agree with you. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But why?
Well,
no, that will really mess with your head.
I can't even begin to tell you. Well, see, the issue is, though, so my question is, though, why does it keep you up at night? Because my feeling is I will go back to the Bible just real quickly.
Okay.
Since that's kind of what more I know.
Yeah, of course.
So God in Scripture, and I believe me, people from all faiths and even Stoics are listening to it going, oh my gosh, this is a train wreck. But the reality is, this is how we all should be talking, because we don't really know. So I can just, based on what I've been able to glean, and when it comes to Bible passages, God always said to people, don't try to understand what you can't understand. Don't bother with the stuff of trying to get the code.
Then don't give us
You're
the
never
brains
going to have
to
the
want to
code.
reason that.
Right, but see, they give us the brains to interact and love.
And is that where we're supposed to stop? We're not supposed to question everything?
No, I think we are. I'm not quite sure whether we're ever going to find out.
Exactly.
So we have to kind of operate. I'm like for instance, I'm not going to enter into an elevator with somebody and say, "Hey, why are we here?"
You see, I would.
Well, I mean, I would if it got that far. The elevator had a bar.
Right.
I'd ask that question.
I've been known to ask very strange questions to people.
I think that's good. That's why I thought it was fun to show you this.
So I'm going to just read something from it.
Well, there's just a little something from there.
Okay. So I'm opening it, and it says...
What date is it?
October 23rd.
Okay.
Does that mean something?
No, I just wondering, just curious.
Show the qualities you were made for. People aren't in awe of your sharp mind, so be it. Which means also amen, so be it. But he doesn't say that. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
But you have many other qualities you can't claim to have deprived of at birth. Display those qualities in your own power: honesty, dignity, endurance, chastity, contentment, frugality. No, I don't have the power. Kindness. Okay, I'll take it. Freedom, persistence, and magnanimity.
Magnanimity?
I don't know what that means.
I know. I couldn't. Well, it's just being magnanimous. It's being...
I'm magnetic. I'm a magnet.
It's kind of the way you're magnanimous in our conversations.
I have no idea what I just read.
You're being open and giving, and that's being magnanimous.
So just be me in October.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly. But even that, you could find something in the Bible that relates to that. I'm not quite sure who was the quotation on that. But I mean, again, it's funny how the more you see similarities, as opposed to differences, the more fun it gets in life. And maybe you don't ultimately have the answers.
I know. That's what goes in my head every day.
I know.
On a constant basis. I can't stop it.
Well, most of us, though, are not as thoughtful.
Well, no, it's easier to push
We just kind of
aside,
push ahead and go that way and do what we can do. But I think about that kind of stuff every day. I reflect mostly on my interactions, how I behave.
Yeah.
There are times when that's why it's so hard. Really the basic tenet, of the Bible, technically in God's word, is that to love each other as you'd love yourself,
right?
And
it's so simplistic,
right?
Why
and it's
can't
hard to
people
do though, but it still is fun to try.
Do you think it's hard to do because we don't love ourselves enough?
Oh, I totally believe that. People's insecurities sometimes will just totally be a barrier to any kind of progress in terms of interpersonal relationships sometimes. But you're right. To open yourself to that is hard. You have to make yourself vulnerable. Our society doesn't reward vulnerability. It doesn't reward humility.
No.
And so
I think it's changing. I think we're changing. Yeah. I do. I really feel a change coming on. And I still like Psalms the best of all. The Psalms, I could read those like you did this daily Stoics.
Yeah.
Same thing. There's some beautiful, a lot. I mean, a lot.
Comforting.
Yeah. And just really wise wisdom.
Yeah.
That you're right. I mean, these that came before this.
Well, and it's poetry. To a certain degree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And some people say, and I know a lot of people who are really great, smart people who will say, I mean, I read the Bible, if anything, because of its literary magic, because some of it is,
it's beautiful,
Songs of Solomon and the Acts, which is considered the baby book of the Bible. It's like the original Christians talking about things. And so it's really kind of fascinating from that standpoint. Mm-hmm. But there's so much in it that crisscrosses with so much of what Stoics and Zen people, people talk about Zen.
Yep.
Well, there's nothing more Zen, in my opinion, than certain aspects of the Bible. And there's nothing more biblical than sometimes what is in the Zen. Like, remember Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Racing? Remember that one?
No.
Okay, so
I was just thinking
young.
the Tao of Pooh.
Right, all that kind of thing.
I love that stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Because, I mean, yeah.
Well, and a lot of that is really, if you look into it, there's a lot of Bible in there.
Well, and it depends on, now here's something we'll have to talk about because we're getting close to the end of the show. But the next thing I want to talk about when we go to the religion on this thing is I got to find out about the whole, why'd you have to have a new Bible? First one was just fine.
Well,
that's out there.
Well, because things kind of changed.
Of course. So if you're interested in the book, it's by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Mm-hmm. It's 366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living.
Yeah. Why is it 366, though?
Good luck.
You one for good measure?
Always, one for God.
Give it to the Stoics. They're changing they're just even saying there's another day in the year.
You ready to be a little uncomfortable?
Well, sure.
Okay. Look forward to the next one.
Judi.
Thank you for being a part of the Allman Diamond experience. Got something to say? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. And if you'd like to cultivate more Allman Diamond experience, and we hope you do, please subscribe and tell your friends.
Hold on a minute before you close the door. You're kinda lovely, but do you wanna talk some more? Hey, what's your interest? What's the music on your phone? Excuse my honesty, I'm probably a comedy, but it would be a tragedy if I never spoke this soliloquy. We could paint my bedroom with the color of your smile, the color of your smile.